Olives are one of the oldest cultivated foods in human history. People have been growing, harvesting, and eating olives for thousands of years, long before modern agriculture or food processing existed. Across different regions of the world, olives have become a symbol of tradition, preservation, and time. They can be eaten fresh or cured, soaked in brine, dried, or pressed into oil. Each method changes their taste, texture, and character. Despite these differences, olives are often seen as simple food, small, smooth, and familiar. At their core, olives are fruits. They grow slowly, storing water, oils, and organic material inside their flesh. This internal balance is what gives olives their rich flavor and their distinctive oily texture. Olives are valued not only for taste, but also for their nutritional properties. They are a natural source of fats, antioxidants, and plant compounds that have been part of human diets for centuries. We are very familiar with how olives feel. They can be firm or soft, slightly elastic or dense, sometimes juicy, sometimes oily. These sensations are so common that we rarely think about where they come from. Why does an olive feel smooth but not uniform? Why does it release oil when pressed? Why does its texture change after curing or fermentation? The answers to these questions are hidden inside the microscopic structure of the olive. In this video, I take an ordinary olive, the same kind people eat every day, and examine it under a microscope. At 80 times magnification, the olive sample appears as a dark, uneven mass spread across the slide. Large, irregular regions dominate the field of view, forming dense clusters with soft, blurred edges. The structure immediately looks heavy and saturated. Unlike fruits with high water transparency, the olive appears opaque and compact. Its dark coloration suggests a high concentration of organic material and pigments. The surface is far from smooth. It looks rough, layered, and slightly torn, as if the material resisted spreading during preparation. Small, lighter zones appear around the edges of darker clusters. These areas hint at moisture and oil slowly separating from denser tissue. Scattered circular shapes are visible throughout the background. They vary in size and appear suspended in the surrounding medium. At this level, the olive no longer feels like a clean, solid fruit. It already resembles a complex mixture of dense plant tissue and oily components. This first magnification gives a general impression of olives as rich, compact structures rather than light or watery ones. Even here, the olive feels heavy, concentrated, and built to store energy. At 200 times magnification, the internal organization of the olive becomes clearer. The dark masses begin to break into smaller structural regions. Instead of one solid block, the olive reveals layered fragments pressed together. These fragments have uneven boundaries that twist and curve naturally. Thin fibrous elements start to appear along the edges of the darker areas. They form tangled networks that connect one region to another. Between these networks, lighter zones become more visible. These areas suggest oil-rich regions where light passes through more easily. Numerous rounded droplets appear throughout the image. They are smoother and more defined than the surrounding tissue. These droplets vary in size and are unevenly distributed. Some cluster together while others remain isolated. The contrast between dense plant material and smoother oily regions becomes very noticeable. At this scale, the olive starts to look like a carefully balanced system. A system where solid structure and liquid components coexist tightly. This level helps explain why olives feel firm but release oil when pressed or bitten. At 800 times magnification, the olive transforms into a detailed, microscopic landscape. The field of view fills with fine textures and overlapping structures. Fibrous strands dominate much of the image. They appear thin, irregular, and densely packed, forming tangled clusters. These fibers vary in thickness and direction. Some run parallel for short distances, while others twist sharply and intersect. Between them, countless tiny particles fill the space. This creates a crowded and textured environment with almost no empty areas. Oil droplets become more prominent at this level. Their smooth, rounded shapes stand out against the rough, fibrous background. Some droplets appear embedded within the tissue. Others sit at the boundaries as if slowly separating from the structure. The olive no longer resembles a simple fruit. It looks engineered, layered, and highly organized. This complexity reflects the olive's role as an energy-rich fruit built to store oils over time. At this magnification, the olive begins to feel more like a microscopic system than food. At 2,000 times magnification, the olive becomes almost completely abstract. Nothing here resembles a fruit anymore. The familiar idea of food disappears entirely. Individual fibers are now sharply defined. They appear thin, elongated, and tightly intertwined into dense bundles. Some fibers look smooth and continuous. Others appear broken, frayed, or irregular, showing signs of mechanical stress during preparation. The spaces between fibers are filled with countless microscopic particles. These particles vary greatly in size and shape. Some are round and smooth. Others are angular or uneven, adding visual complexity to the scene. Oil-rich structures appear as smooth, rounded forms nestled among the fibers. They follow the contours of the surrounding tissue, creating repeating patterns across the image. Some regions look highly organized and layered. Others appear chaotic and fragmented. This contrast gives the image depth and a sense of movement. At this level, the olive feels less like food and more like a microscopic ecosystem. A system shaped by plant growth, oil storage, curing, and time. This hidden world exists inside something people eat every day, yet it remains completely unseen in normal life. Looking this closely changes how familiar foods feel. If exploring these hidden structures sparks your curiosity, leave a comment with what you'd like to see next under the microscope, and subscribe to the channel to keep discovering what's hiding beneath the surface.